Yes, thank you for that. Oh no, I don't want that. Go away. They keep saying go live. It's the advice I'm getting now from my friends across the pond. So I'm going live on YouTube, but I haven't put my socks on yet. So there you go. Right, let's go live. I shan't be swearing in this one. I shall try and keep a clean mouth. Because obviously anybody could be watching without supervision, including the delicate police officers. We wouldn't want to upset them, would we? With profanity. Now, don't mind if I pop off for a beer, will you? Because I might do that. I'll just be gone a second. By the way, I'm not advertising Budweiser, but if you want to give me some money, guys, I'm sure you've got some. I think I've advertised you on this channel, inadvertently, of course, more than anyone else ever. I shall try and keep up with any comments, but I have got my contact lenses on, so I can't see small type very well. So do be advised, I will try and answer afterwards. But I'm on my phone because every time I go live on a laptop, it won't let me. Because my laptop is hacked persistently and consistently by MI5. Along with video. I've just found another video which has been removed, I think. I can't find it. It's all about the control. It was the first one I did on coronavirus. It's not where it should be in the channel list. Let's put it that way. Wow. So now they're just taking videos off without telling me. Go live, young man. I'll just have a charming chap on YouTube. I forget his name now. River Churnit or something. Having a go at me. You didn't get 2 chief constables sacked. Well, yes, I did, mate. Because the pattern was the same with both of them. Both Chief Constable Simon Parr and Chief Constable Alec Wood, who left unexpectedly thereafter, leaving Cambridgeshire Police without a Chief Constable for the next 3 months. And they struggled to get Nick Dean. And Nick Dean actually is refusing to talk to me. I did tweet him when he was up in Norfolk or Norwich or wherever he was directly, and say about 25 years worth of theft in the public purse orchestrated by John Major. And he never answered. And he's never answered any of my correspondence since. Dear. I've upset you there, Nick. Upset your little equilibrium of peacefulness and nothing ever happens. Oh God, why do I smoke roll-ups? Yeah, so they both went. Chief Constable Nick Dean won't speak to me. But it did bear me in mind of when I went to Peterborough Crown Court with Judge Enright, and I had so much has been hacked off the channel. I'm really going to have to keep on going over this stuff now because I don't know how many people know about it. I was then told not to. I'd submitted all my evidence, as you do, as you're supposed to do in a court case. Only they don't play by those rules anymore. You're not allowed to give evidence in a court case if you're the defence, according to Judge Enright. So I'd submitted all my evidence and, reams of this stuff, and I'd sent it to the two of the coppers, I'd sent it to the court, I'd sent it to the judge personally. All done, yeah? You have inundated this court with correspondence, Mr. Dacres. Don't do that again. That's what I got. Crown Court Judge, there you go. All bought and all bent and paid for. All bent and all bought and paid for. So yeah, and then that reminded me also of County Court Judge Chowdhury, who I was kind of there for moral support with my mate, and my mate was asking the prosecution, who were the counsel, questions. The prosecution, by the way, who had a nice expensive barrister from some chambers in Peterborough. What's Huntingdonshire District Council doing, hiring barristers from a chamber in Peterborough? What are they doing hiring barristers? How much does that cost? That's public money. Right, so I watched my mate ask the prosecution questions and Judge Chowdhury was answering them. 30th of June 2014, I think you'll find. And the barrister was just sat there nodding along. So the barristers are all bent as well, because they'd obviously all been briefed, you know. Oh, we can't look into this. No, this is about 25 years worth of theft from the public purse orchestrated by John Major. No, we can't do that. No, we're not allowed to do that. John Major, chief Freemason. I thought when his name first dropped in, I thought someone else has got to be behind it. You know, I thought he's not bright enough. But either he is the one behind it, covering the whole thing up, or everyone's terrified of the people behind him. I mean, here was a guy, I have mentioned this on the channel, 2 elections in southwest London, because he comes from Surrey. He also ordered all his school photographs to be destroyed after he left. I don't know why. There were 2 elections in sort of southwest London area, which they put him up for. And he didn't win either of them. So then they reinvented Huntingdonshire. Because Huntingdonshire for a while didn't really exist. Everything was kind of under Cambridgeshire. And it was Cambridgeshire County Council. And this was back, I think, in the 80s, they reinvented it. And they changed a few of the borders and everything, so the land borders. So they really did reinvent it. It wasn't the same Huntingdonshire that Oliver Cromwell had strolled around, you know, they'd changed the borders. And he won that. And that's how he became an MP, because he won that election. But then, of course, it's obvious now, looking back, isn't it? They wanted him as Prime Minister. That's why they were so desperate to get him into a seat of office, as it were. So, just to fill you in, a bit of local colour. In 1982, all the laws came in, or I'll say legislation. Right, it's not law at all. It's legislation. It's acts and statutes. So they all came in 1982 to say that councils could charge for trading licenses. You see, for these hot food vans, these burger vans. And it was 1984 when my lot picked up on it. And then they were supposed to advertise it in the local press for 2 weeks, which they did. They were also supposed to ask County Council, write to County Council. Well, they kind of just phoned County Council up. And County Council said, well, it's not a bad idea, but we don't want you charging across the board. So then they started charging across the board. And they were supposed to ask the Chief Constable of Police at the time, who I have no clue who that was, write to him or her. Probably would have been a him back in the day. That never happened at all. So they marched into this thing completely unlawfully. And then John Major said, because all this cash started coming in then, because they started going around these burger vans, and they said it's 50 quid a year or whatever it was at the time. I mean, it ended up over 1,600 quid by the time we reached present day. But it was 50 quid a year or whatever it was at the time. And so they went around saying, we're the council, we can do this, you know, you've got to pay this money, a trading licence. So all this cash started coming in, because of course, credit wasn't in it back then, really. Not very many people had credit cards. You might have had a basic bank card, that would have been about it. So all this cash started coming in, sometimes cheques. One cheque turned up in the Welsh Water Board. We still don't know how that happened. Because they tried to say someone hadn't paid. So he went down to the council building with his bank statement and his credit card stub, you know. There you go. Oh, anyway, it turned up in the Welsh Water Board. So you can't make this stuff up. So all this cash started coming in. So John Major turned around. And I eventually found out, because he was mentioned in the paperwork, but then he just kind of wandered off. So he was basically the one that said, start charging, you know. So then John Major turned around and said, oh, there's some secret bonuses for my mates at the council. So that's how it all got going. From 1984 until 2009, they were stuffing loads of dosh in the pocket. everyone wondered why all the council employees had brand new cars. One guy turned up on the channel later on, Pigman he called himself. He was taking $5,000 a year. Nice free holiday for him once a year in Thailand, so he freely admitted. In Patiana, I think the place is called, which is the home of the Ladyboys. And was then, I would imagine. So there you go, he was off to see all his Ladyboy friends once a year, free of charge. Free gratis. Thanks very much, gullible taxpayer. So everyone in Huntingdonshire, and I dare say other councils have been at it as well, but obviously I've got no proof of that. So everyone in Huntingdonshire, all these traders have all been taken for mugs, basically. In fact, everyone in Huntingdonshire has been taken for a mug, because if they were stealing that, what else were they stealing? I mean, that's the only thing I've found. That was what was asked to be looked at in the accounts. It wasn't in the accounts. It had never touched the accounts. It went straight in people's back pockets. Notably Greg Peck, who was head of licensing for many years. And most of the cash was actually given directly to him, because the traders would come in and say, you know, is Greg Peck about? Because I've got my trading license money. And he would take it and go, oh, thanks very much. A free holiday for me. Sorry, I did notice, I've seen someone come up and say, keep up the good work, thank you for that. It did flash by me, but I think I was getting rather lyrical at the time. Waxing lyrical. Again, Budweiser, if you want to give me some money, because I'm advertising your product for free, okay? No rush. You can get in touch on the channel. Or just ask the police, they've got my email address. They won't come round anymore, guys. There's like an invisible fence around my house that only the police and the council and the bailiffs can see. Send a few letters, yeah, demanding this, that and the other. I don't know actually what they're demanding because I don't open them. I opened that one, which was, had I signed the electoral register? Well, you know fine well I'm on the electoral register and you know fine well what the address is, so why are you sending me something to sign the electoral register when I signed it 14 years ago? Or has the ink rubbed off the page? Like all the evidence that the police lose. So there was, I've been boosting up my videos onto Facebook. It's a page, it might be called Plea Dakers, P-L-E-E, and then my second name, or it might be called Plea a Plant in a Government Office. I don't know, the title has been successfully changed, but I don't know if Facebook have made that change or not yet. And I was watching some of them, and it was quite comical. It was about Inspector Perky and Sergeant McFilliarface, I think it was. Because one of them, when the police came around here on May 18th last year, you see. So the warrant was 6 months out of date, for God's sake. But there, Mr. Bailiff turned up with his 5 police mates. The police acting for a private limited company, you know. I mean, we know the police are a limited company, but there they were, 5 of them, acting for a limited company. Employee. Warrant was 6 months out of date, and apparently the police had verified that, according to the sergeant. So they knew they were knocking on the door with a 6 month out of date warrant. But then Inspector Perky, he said, no, that's down to Marston's then. You best make a complaint to Marston's. Because our police officers obviously don't check any paperwork, they just assume, well, what's his name, the sergeant, in when I was being questioned in Interview with Cambridge Police, if it's even still on the channel, I don't know. Yeah, you just need the address to be correct on a warrant. Nothing else needs to be correct. Jesus Christ. So that's Cambridge Police do no paperwork whatsoever. He's back. Oh, he's back again. River Churnet. He said St Ives must be a right dump if I lived there. I said, well, I'm glad you think so. Of course, I was going to run for police and crime commissioner at one point, but I couldn't. You need £5,000, and really, I'm sure they would have made sure I was going to lose. So, you know, I'm sure all my votes would have just fallen off the table. Bit like all the evidence I gave to Crown Court. Which detailed, among other things, all the abuse I got online, which was undoubtedly by bailiffs and coppers. So that clearly had to be ignored, because obviously the police and the bailiffs can do anything they want. They can break any law they want. They've proved it. Cambridge Police have proved it time and time again. 10 of them came round here in the space of 2 weeks. No offence had been committed. Okay, I'd told the bailiff to go and effing whatever, but, you know, that's it. You only have to attack them, and that's an offence, you see. They can do anything they want. They can say anything they want. They make up any law they want. Ignore any law they don't like. Ignore any evidence they don't like. The police today, working against the people 24/7. Right, this has been fun actually. I must try this more often. How do I stop it? That, I'm guessing. Yes. End.